Hey, hi, hello there. Welcome back to another episode of Random Ass Missy. Here I am, Melissa, Missy, Static Missy, whatever you want to call me. Here I am. So today I figured let's talk a little bit about why I'm here, right? Like what I'm doing. So, I'm an only child. Both my parents worked very, very hard. They both worked full time. There were quite a few times where my dad worked 7 days a week. Like he was born and bred to work hard, and unfortunately, that like took over everything else in his life. Um, and my mom had just lost both of her parents. My grandpa died like a couple months before I was born, and then when I don't know if I was 7 or 8, uh, my mom's mom also died. So the majority of my childhood, my mom was grieving. So I was raised by bitterness and grief, and it was a wild ride. Let me tell you what. um, and we we spend so much time blaming our parents, but we can only give them so much credit for our messes, right? Because yes, they started the mess, but we just keep on perpetuating that mess, right? We just keep on perpetuating it. So, I say that to tell you this. I spent the majority of my childhood by myself. And then I spent a good chunk of time being a pick me, being the pick me girl, because I spent so much time by myself and I just wanted to connect with other human beings. And I was doing whatever I thought was necessary to connect with other human beings, and it triggered the hell out of them. And it was a poor experience for them, it was a poor experience for me. And I just thought that, like, I was the problem, but also I wasn't the problem. You know what I mean? Like, I was pushing buttons in without knowing I was pushing buttons. So once I pushed those buttons, like I got a response, like a response. It was very visceral all around. Um, Teachers either loved me or hated me. Um, and I was a know it all. I was a pick me girl. Like I needed attention. So I was always the first hand up, and at some point, they're like, Melissa, you got to let other people answer. I'm like, but they're going to give you the wrong answer and I have the right one. And they're like, well, that's a little arrogant of you. I'm like, no, I promise you I have the right answer. And I did, because I read voraciously. I read everything I could get my hands on. Um, I read so much all the time. And then the internet came around, and then I could research on the internet, and I did a lot of that. So up to a certain point, I knew everything because I was just like filling my brain with all the knowledge I could find. Um, and that gets annoying. I didn't know it, but it really gets annoying, and I understand. But there's also validation for that know it all in there, that, she worked really hard to know it all. So at some point, I turned that off and I know nothing, and it's magnificent. There comes this point where you're like, I am not cramming anything else in this brain. I am kicking everything out of it and I'm just gonna vibe. I am just gonna vibe. And I have those days where I don't know a thing. You can't ask me shit because I don't know the answer, and it's beautiful. And then there are days I can tell you the square root of whatever. Most of the time that doesn't happen anymore because math and I are not friends. Um, Math and I were going to be friends, and then we moved in third grade, and the school that I moved from was learning division, and the school that I moved to was learning multiplication tables. And so my pick me intensified. And they're like, well, we're not doing division, so you just need to work on your multiplication tables. And I was like, but I could tell you all of them. And they're like, no, you can't. I'm like, yes, yes, I can. I got old real fast. And I understand that a lot of overworked and underpaid teachers had to deal with my eagerness for everything, and it was a lot. Um, so yeah, I was a pick me, I was a try hard, I was a know it all. I was too much for like everybody. And so when you don't have anybody in your life that doesn't think you're too much, you believe you're too much for everyone. You believe that everyone you meet forever in your life is going to think you're too much. I don't know what the lighting's doing. I can't tell you. I don't know. Really, camera? This is what we're going to do? Okay, I guess we're just going to deal with it. Can I get it to not? Anyways, we're just going to roll with it. So, being an only child who played by herself all the time and read too many books and got told she was a tryhard and a know it all and she was bossy. Oh, yeah, I was bossy. Um, and then, so I tried to not be bossy. And they'd put me in group projects, right? And I'm like, okay, Melissa, you're not running this group project. You're going to let somebody else run this group project. Except none of them want to run the group project. And so you end up doing all the work without running the group project. And a lot of times, everybody got a good grade, even the one who didn't do a damn thing. But then there were times they realized that I was the one who did all the work because everything sounded like me. Imagine that. And that's when a little bit of karma happened and those people got bad grades, because just because the group project was good doesn't mean the work you did on the group project was good. And so I hit a point where I didn't want to do any more group projects. Like, if I'm stuck doing all the work, I'm not doing it for you. I'm just going to do it for me, right? So there was a time where every group project I was in, I didn't do a damn thing. I'd like contribute one thing so you could tell I did something, and then I didn't do anything. And then suddenly people were like, oh shit, she's not going to do all the work for us. No, I'm not. I'm done doing all the work for everybody. And like now, as an adult and doing spiritual work, I'm not doing your spiritual work for you. I did too much spiritual work for too many people, and I'm not doing it anymore. Like, I I get described as a walking tower moment. Um, I can't help it. I will shake you like a snow globe without like even lifting a finger, and I don't know how that's coming off, and that's okay. Um, I I just like I'm an energetic globe shaker. Like, it's like, okay, I'm going to give you an opportunity to rise to the occasion. And if you're not going to rise to the occasion, I'm very sorry for you, and I'm going to move on, and you're going to have to deal with it. Um because I see everybody's potential. I absolutely fall in love with potential, and that breaks my heart every time, and that's my fault. Anyways, so I fall in love with people's potential, right? It doesn't matter what the physical being is doing in front of me. I fall in love with a person's potential. And then I give them the opportunity to rise to that potential. But I'm also not very patient. I'm working on that. Well, I'm being made to work on that. Anyways, so I fall in love with somebody's potential, and then I give them the opportunity to rise to the occasion. But then I'm not very patient about it when they don't. And this isn't like I just come in, shake up your snow globe, and dip. Like, that's not what this is. It's a process. It's a long process, usually. And usually I don't dip when I should. There are a lot of people that didn't deserve my energy, and I gave them all of it. Like, I'd scrape the bottom of the barrel for somebody who like wouldn't spit on me if I were on fire, you know? And that ruined my life for a really long time. But we learn, right? We learn. So, um, I trigger the hell out of people without even a thought about it. Like, I'm not trying. I'm not hoping you're about to have a bad time. You know what I mean? Like, I want everybody to have a good time. I want everybody to win. I absolutely want everybody to win, but not everybody is supposed to win. And that's the problem. Like, you can't win all the time. And I want everybody to win all the time. um, so it's it's this interesting dance, right, between let me help you rise to the occasion or let me let you just soak in your own misery, because some people really do just want to soak in their own misery. And for a long time, I wanted to soak in my own misery because my own misery was familiar, it was comfortable, it was there with me through everything. Like when your oldest friend is your misery, you kind of hold on to it, right? It's familiar, it's comfortable, it's comforting. Like, who finds their misery comforting? Well, this girl did. Lovely, right? Um, and I am like a buckshot today. I'm so sorry. I had like a thought in mind when I started this, and then we just like buckshotted, and that's my life. That's my brain. I'm so sorry. um, so why am I doing this? I'm doing this because in the unbecoming of myself, because really the first 35 years of my life was an unbecoming, and then from 35 on has been the becoming of myself, which, I'm 38, so it's only been a few years. But like up to, like, I want to say 35, I was trying actively to be somebody else, to be liked. And there's a vast chasm of difference between nice and kind. And I always am kind, but I'm not always nice. And I shouldn't always be nice, but I was trying to be nice because I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted everybody to like me so badly. Um, because I didn't like me. I didn't like me because I was convinced that I wasn't supposed to. Everybody convinced me that I wasn't supposed to like me. So I thought I was the gum on somebody's shoe, you know, like your brand new shoes and you stepped in gum. I'm that gum, and it was awful. I am just now at 38 years old realizing that I am not the gum on somebody's shoe. I am the person who spit that gum out. No, I don't spit gum out on the sidewalk anymore. That's a very teenage thing to do. I don't do that anymore. But I used to, of course. Um, and in this whole I'm not the gum on somebody's shoe deal, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm the dirt. And I'm like, no, you're not the dirt. Okay, so maybe I'm the sidewalk they put over the dirt? No, no. Well, maybe you should be the person that they built the sidewalks for. Just saying. Be the person that they specifically had in mind when they made those sidewalks. You got this, baby. um, I I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. So there's a window right here, if you couldn't tell, by all the light coming directly at me, and the blind's closed, or the curtain rather. But I have a scraggly ass tree right outside that window. Oh, if my hand's over here, you're gonna focus properly. Okay, hi. Um, and so the curtain is really lightweight. It's not like a heavy duty curtain because this is my office. Nobody sleeps in here. And I can like see the outline of the scraggly tree in the breeze because where I am, it's windy. It just is. I'm near the water. It gets very windy on Lake Huron. And so I just like see shit out of the corner of my eye and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. Hi, tree. Oh, we're causing problems today, y'all. That's the sign we're causing problems today. Spread the message. We're causing mayhem. Oh, you know, I I'm at a pretty good point where I don't really care what people think about me, but but I do like step outside of myself and look in from what I assume is a normal person's perspective, and I'm like, man, girl, you better wash your face. Like you are just but at the same time that's kind of exciting and I don't really care, right? I think it's having a hard time with the sea of black that is my shirt and the microphone, and then I bring my hands into it. I need to stop focusing on the camera doing its thing. Like I just need to let it be. Just let it be, Melissa. Okay. And this is why I don't like looking at myself because I'm just like aren't you glad that this is viewable instead of just something you listen to? Because if you're just listening to me, you'd be like, what the fuck is she doing? And maybe watching this, you're still like, what the fuck is she doing? I don't know. Nobody knows what I'm doing. That's the spoiler. Nobody knows. Um, Anyways, so I am doing this to express myself because I spent quite a bit of my life trying to make myself smaller to fit in those stupid boxes that people made for me and I didn't fit in. So I made my own box and I made it too small and I didn't fit in it. It wasn't a it if I fits, I sits. It was a if I don't fit, I'm still gonna sit, and it was bad. And I'm still working out the creases from sitting in that box I didn't fit in. You know what I mean? So here we are expressing ourselves. And I feel that a lot of people are depressed because they don't get to express themselves. And it to me that's a very personal thing. Like I have been depressed as long as I can remember, like way back into childhood, being a little kid, being depressed. And some of it is the ridiculous amount of empathy I have for other people because every time there's something scary going on in the world, I feel bad for all the people that it's happening to. And the problem with that is there's always something going on. Always, always, always. And so somewhere running in the back of my head is the oh my god, these poor people that this thing is happening to, right? And I have to keep putting it there because if I don't put it there, I'm just going to be a sad bitch all the time. We don't want to be a sad bitch all the time. Nope, that's not good for my mental health. And so there's this delicate balance. There we go. This delicate balance between being empathetic and being uh, self-centered, right? Because we've made self-centered a dirty word and it's not supposed to be. It is your life. It is supposed to be centered around you. Now, I get that there are people that like the only thing they're worried about is themselves and it's detrimental to other people in their lives, and that's not good. That's not good at all. But the majority of us don't even think our own life is about us, and that's a problem. Like your life is about you. I didn't think my life was about me. Guess what? My life is about me. It's supposed to be. It's my life. I am the main character. Like, be your own main character. Be your own hero. Be that human being you needed back when you went through that trauma. Like, I made a promise to myself that I wasn't going to let anybody yell at me anymore. Like, there was so much yelling when I was growing up. So, so, so much yelling. And I wasn't allowed to say a word. I couldn't even defend myself. It was always talking back. So I just like let it ride. And unfortunately, that made me really good at customer service. Like, I would be doing over the phone customer service, and there's a customer just screaming, and I'm just letting them just like get it all out. Just get all of that out. A part of me is freaking out because, like, the little kid in me is like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. No, honey, you're not in trouble. They are in trouble. So you let them get it all out, right? And so they feel heard because you've let them get it all out. Except when they pushed me too far and they're like, just going, and it's somehow my fault that someone else didn't do their job. Okay. Um, and like they'd scream at me for like 10 minutes straight, and then at the end, because I'm still quiet, like I'm just letting them get it out. And I get, are you still there? Yeah. Are you done? That either triggers them into doing something worse, or it makes them realize I've just been screaming at a complete stranger on the phone for no fucking reason. And I didn't do that often. It was just the people that, like, personally I was responsible for their misfortunes. They got the, are you done? And otherwise they'd get, oh, I'm so sorry you're having such a hard time. And I would like repeat some of it back to them so they'd know I actually heard them. Like, it's not that hard. Anyways, that was very detrimental to my own mental health doing that. So I stopped doing that. But yeah, there's like this part of me that's like, I'm going to let you scream it all out at me, but you're not going to like what's going to happen afterwards. And my entire dad's side of the family, all of us women are sassy as hell. And that's probably where that comes from because like, yeah, I'm gonna let you have your toddler tantrum, but then it's my turn. And I didn't have to do that all that often because like, look at me. My resting bitch face is just gonna like ward off half of them, right? Like I don't you, it's cold outside, so there's only so many of my tattoos you can see, but I have mostly skulls on me. I've got weird tattoos. I think I'm up to like 17 of them. And most of them you can't see, when I'm wearing. Actually, when I'm fully clothed, you can't see any of them. And at first that was by design. But then like I started with my first tattoo is vampire bite marks over my heart on my chest. I was 18, and one of my best friends was like, "Hey, I'm gonna pay for a tattoo for your birthday." I'm like, "Cool." So we go, and I had no idea what I wanted at all whatsoever. And she was like, "You should get vampire bite marks." I'm like, "Yeah, I should, shouldn't I?" And the artist was like, "I'm gonna put them over your heart." I'm like, "Okay, let's do this." So yeah, I have vampire bite marks over my heart. They're very very old. They're very very faded, and they need to be either touched up or covered up. For a long time, I wanted to cover them up because at some point I thought it was silly, and then I was like, no, that's not silly. Like that's I was an Anne Rice reader, like an avid Anne Rice reader. So like the Vampire Lestat is my bro. I love him dearly. I love all of Anne Rice's vampires and her witches. Um, and I was just like, I want to hang out with vampires so badly. I'm a vampire girly. What can I say? So yeah, my first tattoo was vampire bite marks. They're over my heart. And then I started getting tattoos on my back, but I didn't get another tattoo until I was 30. I spent my whole 20s not getting any tattoos. And then when I turned 30, I got a tattoo between my shoulder blades. It's just flowers. And then I got more flowers. And then I got a ball python on the back of this shoulder with more flowers. And then I got a bird skull like right here on my upper left arm. It was a Friday the 13th. I think I paid $31 for this bird skull. And then later I had more stuff added to it, and obviously you can see my plastic vampire teeth that I love so much. All of my tattoos are looking a little fuzzy at the moment. I think my body is having an immune response because it seems to like make all my tattoos fuzzy when my body's like having an immune system flare. It's probably just being, I don't know, my immune system doesn't like me all the time, and that's okay. I'll get over it. It'll get over it. We'll be fine. um, Man, I'm going down rabbit holes, aren't I? We're just like off in the weeds. Um, why am I doing this? There we go. Focus, Melissa. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? I'm expressing myself. And I guess tattoos are an expression of myself, so there. Oh, I just sounded like a chicken. I totally just sounded like a chicken. Oh, God. How do my friends deal with me? How do my friends deal with me? If you ever thought that I took myself too seriously, this is what I'm really like. I think I went through this phase of taking myself super seriously because when I'm so giggly and bubbly and like random, people can't take me seriously. And so they think I can't be trusted for some reason. I don't know. Am I giving off too much trickster energy? I'm not sorry if I am. Like, Loki and I have got some stuff to do, okay? um, yeah, so I spent all this time like trying to be super serious and like an adult, an adulty adult. And most of the time now I'm just like, I need an adult. I'm not adulty enough for this. I don't know. I took myself too seriously for a really long time. And sometimes I do still take myself too seriously. Like on my healing spiritual journey, I'm taking that way too seriously and I need to like chill the fuck out for a little while. I'm like, I must heal everything. So so I'm like, cycles, break them all. But it's like you need cycles. Like our brain needs cycles. So you should break the bad cycles and replace them with good ones that you can start. So then you can have a good cycle for your brain to like ruminate on because our brains are so lazy. And I'm going to tell you this over and over and over again. Our brains are so lazy. They want to take the easiest, most beaten path that they've ever taken. And that's why when something new comes around, you're terrified because your brain wants to take its comfy path that it knows exactly what's going to happen. So you break a cycle and you replace it with a good cycle. But my brain is like, break all the cycles. I don't know why I sound like a symbiote for a minute there. I don't know what's going on. And I think that's the secret is I don't know what's going on and I don't care. Like there's a part of me that very much wants to plan every moment of my day, but the rest of me knows that that bitch needs to touch grass. Like, you cannot plan every single moment of your day if there are other human beings involved, because there's that whole thing that's called free will. And other people's free will is going to supersede yours if you let it. So don't let it. But you can't plan every moment of every day and then be pissed when it doesn't work out exactly to the moment you planned it. And so I went swinging too far in the opposite direction and I don't plan a fucking thing. I get on here like, yeah, I'm going to talk about why I'm doing this today, knowing full well I'm going to talk to you about like 38 different things in a 30-minute period because I I don't know, I just spew thoughts as they come up. And a part of that is actually spiritual, believe it or not. Um, to be a clear channel, you have to be a little bit spontaneous. My brain just tried to like say spontaneity, and I'm like, no, that's the wrong tense of that word, girlfriend. Um, you have to be at least a little bit spontaneous to be a clear channel because it's not coming from you, it's just coming through you. And so sometimes I am a walking intrusive thought because it's not me. It's intrusive thoughts that were given to me. And that makes me sound even more insane. And you can believe that. I'm okay with you believing that I'm insane. Half the time I believe I'm insane too. It's okay. We're just gonna embrace it. Um, so when I get, I guess we'll call it a download, like the best modern term for my spirituality. Holy crap, Melissa, you can talk, I promise, is getting a download. And I'm going to wrap it up here in a minute because we're at 30 minutes. But I get this download, right? And I know it's not mine, but it sounds so true. Like every fiber in my being is like, this is a true thing. I'm like, okay, out my mouth, it's coming. Poof. And I think that is sometimes to my detriment, but most times it is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, is just like letting the intrusive thoughts win. Unless I'm holding a knife, then those intrusive thoughts, they don't win. Mm-mm. When we have sharp objects, don't let those intrusive thoughts win. Those are not those are not downloads. Those are just the feral side of your brain being a nut job. um, so um, I'm going to do an episode about my spirituality, and it's not going to be for most people. Most people are going to be like, this bitch is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and you are allowed to feel that way. You are absolutely allowed to feel that way. Um, if you treat me poorly because you feel that way, then we're going to have a problem. But you are allowed to believe I am cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs because, like I said, half the time I believe I am too. Anyways, all of this to say I'm finally expressing myself as to the best of my abilities, and that is making me 98% less depressed. The other 2% is just like all the awful things that are happening in the world, and I am not letting that win. So, if you have crippling depression, are you hiding yourself from everybody, including yourself? I don't know. I'm not a professional. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to me buckshot rant at you once again. This has been Random Ass Missy. You can find me on all the socials as Static Missy. I promise you I'm as obnoxious there as I am here. Anyways, thank you again. I love you. You've got this. Bye bye.